Hello, welcome back to Macaulay Moments, the podcast where I, your host, Nora Macaulay, discuss oddly specific topics solely for the entertainment of our listeners. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge that this podcast is currently being recorded upon the unceded traditional territory of the Tk'emlúps te Secwépemc, within Secwépemc Ulu. We are incredibly grateful to have the freedom to live, work, and play upon these sacred lands. All right. Make sure you tune into our previous episode where we dissect the reasoning behind the association of Dalmatians and fire trucks. And without further ado, today's topic, throat singer Tanya Takac. What is throat singing and how does it relate to modern music? So, what is throat singing? Well, throat singing is a vocal practice done across the globe by numerous cultures, and it's basically music that sounds as though multiple pitches and sounds are being made at once by one individual. And in Tanya's culture, she's Canadian Inuk, throat singing is often done as a friendly competition between women, sometimes just to pass time and other times just for entertainment. And the sounds that are made throughout throat singing, they're not only music, but can also imitate sounds of nature in a sense. So like water, animals, wind, you name it. But not only is throat singing a form of entertainment, but it can also be used to put babies to sleep. Interestingly enough. So the more you know. So now that you got the brief rundown of kind of what throat singing is, I want to discuss how it kind of relates to modern music. So it's really interesting to me how we can kind of backtrack through the timeline of music and see such a variety of genres and how they change over time. Like, it's strange how music changes as the audience changes. But why do audiences change with time? Do you know what I mean? Like trends, maybe? Sure. Obviously, different genres kind of attract different communities, and one's environment would obviously influence how they analyze music, right? But how does this connect with throat singing? Being one of the oldest forms of music, there's bound to be trends that we can see carried across genres, including throat singing. For example, the production of multiple notes at once is a skill used in both throat singing and in modern music that we could observe, but the practice in modern music is just called overtone singing. Contrastingly though, throat singing displays nature in the form of sounds, whereas if you listen to modern day music, we use words to kind of express our feelings and emotions, and we do that with varying rhythms. Now, I don't know about you, but the future of modern music is one that I think could go kind of two different directions. It could either proceed to speed up in pace and really become more of like a beat-based sound, which is kind of the direction I think we're going in, or it could kind of slow down over time and become more artistic and analytical. And I actually think I'd prefer to see it go that way, if that makes sense. I love the artistic kind of background that music has, and I find if it becomes solely beat-based, it kind of loses its artistic touch, if that makes sense. Nevertheless, though, I believe that music of other cultures will continue to blossom and flourish, and I really do hope to see throat singing kind of further incorporated into modern music, kind of like what Tanya's doing. We will be right back for our final segment of this episode after a quick word from today's sponsors.
Burgers are made with grass-fed beef now.
Outstanding. It's always been good, but now it's top-notch.
And it's delicious. Yeah.
That's so good.
It's so good. I need another bite.
A&W, now serving grass-fed beef.
Now, we mentioned Tanya Takac in our first segment, and this is because she's a super unique singer that combines traditional throat singing with modern genres, ranging from opera to electronica. And that's why I kind of wanted to focus this episode on her, and who she is, what she's doing, and how everything she's doing relates to what's something that's super common to us. So watching her performances, you'll notice that her roots kind of remain in traditional throat singing, but everything from her environment to her tone of voice to her outfit, it ranges to new modern heights in a sense. This is the biggest factor that I think separates Tanya from other throat singers and other artists in general, is just her ability to combine tradition and modern in one, and I love it. I do think that she's paving the way for our next generation of artists, and I can't wait to see where her talent takes her. Now, as I had mentioned at the beginning of this episode, topics for these episodes are chosen entirely at random, and I feel as though I chose Tanya because of her unique approach to something we're almost all incredibly passionate about, and that is music. I do hope that she continues to get the recognition that she deserves, because she is an incredibly bold and talented artist, and she's really doing something new that I haven't seen before. Thank you all so much for tuning into another episode of Macaulay Moments, and special shout out to A&W for sponsoring this episode. Make sure you tune in next week for our in-depth breakdown of the relationship between Cleopatra and Julius Caesar. Thanks, guys. Bye.